Yeah, CJ, we were talking about if you weren't just filling in on the show right now. Josh brought up coach firings, and he
Okay.
brought up three. So, Josh, who were the three that you were talking about? Obviously, McDermott was one. We just talked about him.
Dan Campbell, and then Mike McDaniel as
You
one.
look at his face. He's just like, Josh has some of the spiciest takes for sure on the show. So I kudos for him for bringing up Campbell. CJ, what do you think about that? Because they already took their hot sauce shots and jalapenos.
Good. I'm glad I missed that. So so yeah, Dan Campbell definitely unlikely unless this team just implodes and just like he loses the locker room and you know there's just some scandal. I just think Dan Campbell has kind of enriched himself at least like multiple bad years, right? I think he's built the foundation in Detroit, and he's just trying to figure out where's the next step. Especially, like, I mean, this year they're going to have a lot of their players back healthy, so I think that
Yeah.
could help them. Obviously, the new coordinators is going to be see how that works out. Um, I love Mike McDaniel as the offensive coordinator and Frank Smith. Those two, I think, produces a really good offense.
It's starting,
But
guys. It's starting.
I do think that um, his seat is the hottest, and I don't know what the heck the Miami Dolphins are doing. And it's everyone is talking about how like there's like Devon A. Chain has came out on Twitter and just saying like if you do well a year prior, you get a contract extension, but then it's like you're gone the next year. So it's like why are you giving them more money and then just say yeah actually we messed up and we don't want you. Like it's been happening. It's becoming a trend for Miami. And so I don't know if it's an ownership thing or if it's I think it's Chris Greer is the GM for the Miami Dolphins. So it's definitely something an approach of like this is something's not clicking here, and I think a total reset for the Dolphins could be in store. But it, again, like there is issues with ownership in Miami. Like he's been, you know, uh, on the hot seat of possibly getting trying to get outed as an owner as well. So that I mean that could possibly happen this year. Finally, things come to light. So I mean, I could see Miami Dolphins having a complete rebuild in terms of new ownership, GM, and head coach entering next year.
Okay, guys, any thoughts about that? Also, Josh, why are we doing watermelon? You guys should be drinking milk to help the spiciness, okay? Just saying.
Just
FYI.
was going to add that piece of education is that fruits are known to have certain acids in them that it would only enhance the spice, not
Yes.
its own.
There
You gotta chew on like some Hawaiian bread loaves or something.
Ooh,
Yes.
I don't got that. My milk is all the way upstairs, and it's a warm day over here in Minnesota, so watermelon is hitting.
Yeah, it's pretty hot today.
But outside of that, so to kind of double down again on Dan Campbell and why they've been successful enough at this, not because of him, but the coordinators. And I believe the players have the team that are playing well, and they're a product of their systems. Now they're both gone. That Campbell, he ain't doing all that. Okay, he's not much of a X's and O's guy. Like I said before, he's just a rah-rah guy. So I think,
I would disagree because if you know anything about Detroit, before Ben Johnson actually became the offensive coordinator, Dan Campbell was running the offense after he fired Anthony Lynn, and it took a while before he decided to give the offense over to Ben Johnson. And Dan Campbell's also part of the Sean Payton tree, so he has a pretty good lineage of understanding offensive play. Obviously, he doesn't have to be the play caller. I think he's allowed himself to be able to like sit back and be quote unquote CEO, head coach, and just allow his players, allow his coordinators to do and develop coordinators. But at the same time, he could do it because he has done it before.
but not well though.
I mean, it did well. I mean, obviously, Anthony Lynn, his first hire as offensive coordinator wasn't great. I mean, he kind of went from being a running back coach to a head coach and then back to a coordinator. So he kind of skipped the step there. But he steadied the offense, and he was very influential with like building the identity of what the Detroit Lions were. Like this wasn't like a Ben Johnson identity to start with. It was Dan Campbell saying, we're going to be a smash mouth football team. And then obviously, Ben Johnson had creativity to do fun stuff in the pass game and stuff like that. But like he just developed the identity of the Detroit Lions being it is his team.
Oh, I agree. The philosophy and identity, 100% him. Well, the X's and O's, like, oh, we're going here, we're flipping this way. No, that's not him. I don't. I think he probably self-awareness, like, bro, I can't do all this. This guy can, though. Here you go, man. Here you go. Draw it up for me. I'm gonna cry at the podium during these times.
I wonder. I think that the only way that this could possibly happen, if the firing of Dan Campbell could possibly happen in the next, 12 months, is if there are like legal accusations. And the day that we get that ESPN report, Josh will send it to the group and he'll say, "I told you so." That's the only way. I mean, they could have an abysmal season this year.
Yeah,
I still think they would give him another run.
Right. Yeah. Or if someone like Kyle Shanahan or someone gets fired and there's just like a hot coach out there to hire, and the Lions have a terrible season and go back to the old Lions. But like I said, I appreciate the spicy take. I don't see that. I could see the other two, but I can't see Campbell.
Guys, speaking of things that you can't see, but I can see somebody that's near and dear to our hearts. Josh, you weren't privy to this, but Mr. Two Locks just arrived back on the comment scene on YouTube saying, hot take, Packers or Rams will be the NFC champs. What do we think of that? Is that spicy or is that not?
I don't know that that's that spicy. I kind of
half
like
a jalapeno.
Yeah, I kind of like both those teams. Like, and not picking one either. Not to flame you, Mr. Two Locks, but not picking one takes the spice away, right? Now, if you say I'm definitive that the Rams are definitive that the Packers, and that has a little kick to it. But I like both teams. I think that both teams have, they have 18 games to sort it out, and I think they could put together a good season. So I don't hate it. I don't
half
think
a
it's that
jalapeno, half a shot, Josh. There you go. You guys go take one.
All right,
half a shot.
let me combat that. Maybe a spicy take to a spicy take. I don't think Packers are going to make the playoffs.
I don't think that's that spicy. You said they won't or they will?
They
Will not.
They will.
I still honestly, they're such a they're literally like a middle of the teeter totter. Either way, it wouldn't surprise me with the Packers because they're such a young team. Again, we know they're prone to slow starts, but they also are a team that can get hot and go on a run. So it's I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Yeah.
So,
and with the Rams, I think the Rams are the favorite after the Eagles to win the NFC. I
I
think they're
love
number
the
two
Rams
favorites.
to make this
Yeah,
season,
actually, if we were doing predictions, that might be different. But I think the Rams could definitely make the Super Bowl and be the NFC champs. So, I'm not high on the Packers, but them getting on a run and winning the NFC wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world. So so that's why I cut the jalapeno in half. Just did
just with your fork, just cut it in half.
I just do it with a spoon. It was a little
With a
difficult, but yeah, because it's in the jar, so it makes it tough. But yeah, so
I don't think anybody, maybe Jackson could correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anybody here is super high on the Packers. I would say, especially I know Josh isn't. And same as CJ and Cody, but because Jackson, I haven't really heard your thoughts on the Packers. Thank God I didn't wear my Packers jersey, or Josh would have freaking scolded me for that. I feel like. So Jackson, what do you think? Yeah,
I feel like we're not even 2 months removed from a segment where Josh raved about Jordan Love and the Packers being this contending team.
It's true.
You could just if you wait long enough, people forget what you say. And you could just take a take on both sides and post whichever one was right.
Actually, that's the Skip Bayless effect.
Yes.
Josh is now I gotta take a whole 2 shots.
I'm a little worried that Josh may have inhaled some of the hot sauce during the call out.
Well, because it could go either direction. Because it takes one thing to go wrong. Because why I said what I did even just now, because I also, upon the coach firing, I also think Mike LaFleur could be somebody who might get it, who might get axed.
That's kind of spicy.
He's had Rodgers, he's had Love, he's not done anything with either one of them.
What?
Uh-oh.
Do you forget football?
I go football. All right.
He didn't do anything with Rodgers.
Did they go to the Super Bowl?
Bro, he had Rodgers' last 2 MVP years and made the playoffs. No, now to say they didn't make a deep run, I'll give you that. But to say he didn't do anything, that's just malice. That's just like
You
terrible.
are spoon fed on a platter a great quarterback and somebody you anticipate to be great. Did nothing. I forgot what game it was like against the 49ers. They just wet themselves. Home field, everything in between.
Shit the bed, show the sauce.
Obviously, if you're talking about playoff success, for sure, yeah, you can have an argument about playoff success. But if you just say nothing, as in they didn't do anything, losing seasons, terrible, then that's just wrong.
That bar is set. Playoff success is part of it. You got great quarterbacks in the helm, essentially. When not, you ain't doing nothing. You ain't getting that run for like the NFC Championship. Nothing. Just squander it. You know, high expectations for the frozen tundra of Green Bay. Y'all ain't doing nothing with it. Again, expectations. Y'all living up to it. That's
they also destroyed the Cowboys and Jerry's world.
I mean, it's Cowboys.
That's true, they did.
I mean, but you're saying nothing. So I mean, that's playoff win. So it's like you have to, if you can give me like a meter, like if you're obviously Super Bowl or nothing. I don't think the Packers are Super Bowl or nothing because since they did move on from Aaron Rodgers, there is more of a. They did move to a youth movement, so they're in a bit of a retooling era. So obviously, you could say that hey, like they gave it their best shot with the last couple years of Aaron Rodgers, which couple MVPs, COVID toe, all that. You had obviously not the playoff success that you wanted, so they had to retool and go with Jordan Love, and a very young roster and rebuilding the defense. So that process definitely is taking a little bit longer than expected. But I mean, I don't know. What they did with the young roster going, with a run and beating the Cowboys, I think that's pretty notable for trying to figure out what you want to do because it's not easy to go from a Hall of Fame quarterback to an up-and-coming quarterback who's been sitting.
I think the metric there for doing anything is probably based on the last coach in charge. And I think a lot of people are going to compare any coach's success in Green Bay to McCarthy, right? And with McCarthy having a Super Bowl win and all that, and of course LaFleur not. What's that in 2010?
In 2010, yeah. But Mike LaFleur I'm pretty sure Mike LaFleur has like the highest winning percentage of like Packers coaches probably. Because he has at least close to a 600 winning percentage. He's won a lot.
Rodgers won a lot.
Well, I think with the Packers too, I feel like they're a little bit like the Steelers, where it's like their expectations, whether whoever's at the helm, like coach, expectations are always high because they're always competitive. Like my entire life, the Packers have been competitive, and they've had Favre, Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. So you feel like they're always going to be there, but then you look back and you're like, okay, well they only won one Super Bowl with Brett Favre, they only won one with Aaron Rodgers, and they haven't even gotten to an NFC Championship game with Jordan Love, even though it's only been 2 years. So it's like, I feel like the expectations are always more, and you always think the Packers are better than they actually are. But I think when you look back at it, there was a lot of years with Aaron Rodgers, with McCarthy, and with LaFleur where it was like 1 seed, 2 seed, and then they shit the bed, no pun intended, in the playoffs.
Shit the bed.
Yeah. Like I remember that one year they had a home game and it's snowing and San Francisco's in town with Jimmy Garoppolo and you lose that game. It's like you can't lose that game to a California team in the snow in Lambeau Field. So I think doing nothing is a little bit too far, but I think below expectations of the franchise could be said. I think could be true.
I'll agree on that statement. Agree on that.
Okay, I'm so glad I didn't wear the Packers jersey. Sorry, is it Jackson? You wanted to say something?
I was going to say CJ is technically correct about the highest win percentage. While he has a higher one than Vince Lombardi did at Green Bay, Vince Lombardi's overall coaching record was a little bit better. But at Green Bay alone, yes, Matt LaFleur has the highest win percentage.
Okay.
Boom. 6.
I hope so. You got Rodgers. I hope so.
Again, it's you've seen coaches have great players and still not do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I think everyone
the
wanted
Lions
them
with Stafford.
Say it again.
Well,
The Lions with Stafford.
Exactly. I mean, they wanted. Actually, was he there with Caldwell? Jim Caldwell? He might have been hurt.
Yeah, he was. I think he was there.
All I know is if say Kevin O'Connell, he was Green Bay, Super Bowl all the time.
Dang, just throwing out
Yeah,
spicy.
I
takes,
told
man.
you, just
Damn.
spicy takes. Josh is like
Oh.
literally the spicy takes king right
Yeah.
I mean,
now.
have you
Oh
not
my
seen
God.
what Kevin O'Connell's worked with quarterbacks? Have you not seen what that dude can do? Can you imagine if he had Rodgers back?
He is 0-2 in the playoffs though, and lost to Daniel Jones at home. So I don't know. Like if we're going with overrated, like
I'm wondering though. You said his
yeah.
work with quarterbacks,
Yeah.
but then CJ's take goes back to his quarterback had MVP seasons. Like at some point, it's not just like O'Connell's been great with quarterbacks, but if you have a quarterback win MVP, that's the best you could do with quarterbacks, right? After that, it's everything else.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little bit of that rah-rah that you're hating on.
When I think these young offensive coaches, especially the ones that came from the McVay or Shanahan tree, like with LaFleur, a little bit O'Connell, and like Mike McDaniel and Zach Taylor, like I feel like they got pumped up a little bit too early. Like I think some of them are good coaches, but they're not McVay and they're not Shanahan. I think they could get there, but I feel like we pumped them up just because of where they came. And yeah, O'Connell's done great. I mean, like I thought Sam Darnold's career was over, so he revived Sam Darnold's career. And he's done really well with not great quarterbacks. So I give him credit for that. But if we're going to include playoff success, we have to include his playoff record, which isn't good. I know it's only 2 games, but it's only 2.
No, it's fair.
Yeah.
So you guys, if you guys did it, I remember on a show, it was me, Cody, and CJ, and we were talking about like the teams that we thought were going to make a run at the Super Bowl, some of the sleeper teams. And one of the spiciest takes that I've ever heard in my life was CJ convincing us. Oh, he already knows what I'm talking about. He convinced us that the Tennessee Titans were going to make a run at the Super Bowl, or maybe close to the Super Bowl.
Because the division, yeah.
Yeah, close to the Super Bowl as possible. And he kind of just went on this whole parade of talking about Cam Ward and the whole 9 yards of that team. So CJ, would you say that was one of your spiciest things, or do you have something that's even spicier than that? We got to make these two, Cody and Josh, sweat a little and get red.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not doing a jalapeno for a take from another show. Like it's got.
That's fair. That's fair.
Honestly, I mean that was I think that was a definitely pretty spicy take. But like honestly, to be honest with you, I think it might have been mild. I think that's really mild because again, like if you think of the fact of how good that defense was until the injuries piled up and the lack of Will Levis at quarterback, how much can your defensive back carry right into it's going to be broke and so the metrics of the Tennessee Titans defense was really good, and I love their front, right? I love that front, and I think they're only going to get better because they're really young on the defensive side of the ball. So now imagine if you could sustain a couple more drops, because they had a lot of one possession losses, the Tennessee Titans last year. So imagine if that pendulum just swung a couple more times the other way, maybe a few more times than a couple because, they had the first overall pick. But if that pendulum can just swing just a couple times with Cam Ward, just, not turning the ball over, not making meme-worthy plays and photos for 8 weeks in a row. Imagine the Tennessee Titans, stealing one in Houston, stealing one in Jacksonville, right? Stealing 2 in Indianapolis because we don't know what the heck is going on.
Stealing, yeah.
So it's just like, then next you're leading division in your divisional wins. And, we're all talking about how Brian Callahan is like, hey, we kind of slept on him, similar to, Zach Taylor, similar to head coach for the Eagles, who's blanking right now.
Sirianni.
Yeah. I mean, Sirianni was a clown when he first got hired. Like, he just looked like, who is this goofball, right? And then I've hated on Sirianni. I hated on Zach Taylor when they first got introduced. Like, why? Who are these guys? Like, they've never called plays, and they're becoming head coaches, right? Obviously, again, the McVay being associated with the right people. We know Sirianni can't call offense. If you want to talk about a coach who can't call offense, that is Sirianni, because his offense was dreadful. And thank goodness he had Shane Steichen on his roster to help, innovate, a really good offense to help him get to the Super Bowl. So obviously he understands he really pushing the coin of being a CEO head coach, right? Obviously having one of the greatest GMs in the NFL currently definitely helps when you have just an abundance of talent and it's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of mild, to be honest.
You got a division opponent's jersey in the room, so let's hear from Josh.
I actually agree with everything CJ just said. I mean, because with Cam Ward being there and whatnot, I think he's a great quarterback. I think can definitely take this team to the next level, the next level, the next level. I would not be surprised if he had Jaden Daniels esque season.
Or Stroud.
Yeah, or Stroud.
I think that CJ, you were not here yet when I made my claim about the rookie of the year, the offensive rookie of the year race, and it definitely included the betting favorite and the person you just mentioned, Cam Ward, not winning it. Now that wasn't the spiciest part. I said that the offensive rookie of the year was not drafted in the first round, but that would imply that I don't have the utmost faith in Cam Ward. I think that they're putting the take that you just gave, while it has a ton of merit because of how good their defense was, it does imply how much weight is on Cam Ward's shoulders. They're expecting him to be, the chosen one, the missing piece, the thing that makes the gears turn this time. I think they should probably just be hoping he's not Will Levis.
I don't think that takes much.
Now, yeah, exactly. So I don't think he's obviously better than Will Levis. I think that he will be a good quarterback in the league. I just think that he will kind of not live up to expectations year one. I think that they're going to put a lot on his shoulders. They're going to expect him to do too much too fast. And he's going to have to learn to let go of the ball. And I think that's going to take a couple weeks. I think that they're going to have a really slow start, and he's going to take a lot of sacks.
I want to explore this conversation for like another half second. What are expectations for Cam Ward?
Depends on who you
Will
ask.
Yeah.
Because I think a part of my take as well was that like Cam Ward is kind of one of the most disrespected first overall picks we've seen in a really long time, probably since Eric Fisher, who was probably drafted first overall. And so, like, no one's talking about him. Like, as soon as he got drafted, it was like, okay, where's Shador going? Or, oh, there's a trade, Travis Hunter, right? So it was, I feel like he is, in a sense, flying under the radar a little bit right now. And I think that will bode well for him. I think people will have, your Skip Bayless's, your Stephen A's will be like, we haven't seen enough from him. Like, he's not doing enough. But then if you actually look at the numbers and watch the tape, he's doing fine. He's just not lighting it up because obviously coming off of back-to-back rookies who set unprecedented numbers in their rookie year and expectations, I think that's going to skew what people consider a good rookie year. Some people consider Caleb Williams' year a bad year. But Caleb Williams, if you look at the numbers, actually did really well and didn't turn the ball over as much. He was the most sacked quarterback in NFL history last year and still didn't turn the ball over a lot. And so, but people still consider him to have a bad rookie year. He had a solid rookie year. His team just stunk, right? So again, it's what the media will perceive as good or bad for you. And I just think the expectations for Cam Ward, we don't really know because we're not talking about it. Obviously, if they were to win the division and go to the playoffs, that is a successful year. But what if they don't, but they're just competitive, like similar to the Arizona Cardinals, where they'll again have more one-possession games, but, Cam Ward is not turning the ball over a ton and maybe just has like 15 to 20 touchdowns, right? But under 10 interceptions, is that a positive rookie year or is that a negative rookie year?
That's a great question. I think it's all about how kind of it looks, because I think Caleb had a better year than people perceive, but the expectations were just through the roof. So like if Cam Ward goes and has the same exact year Caleb Williams had, everybody's going to call it a success because no one's putting the expectations on Cam Ward that they put on Caleb Williams. But I would say that successful year, 20 touchdowns, 15, 20 touchdowns, maybe, 10, 12 interceptions. I don't love their receiving core. It's a little old with like Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett. It's not terrible, but it's getting a little up there.
They got
But
a
little youth movement and whatever they can get out of. I'm blanking on the kid they drafted out of Arkansas. Like 4
they got
years.
they got a speedster out of Arkansas. They also got Torrey Holton. I'm pretty sure. No. They got
the kid out of Colorado State. Yeah,
they got. I don't know. I think Horton went to Seattle. I think they got Alec A. Minor, and then they got Xavier Restrepo as a free agent, priority free agent. So which
Restrepo's
is going to be good for him.
Yeah, because he's got the connection with Cam Ward that they played at Miami together. But I mean, he did go undrafted for a reason, so maybe there's he's slow. So I mean, maybe he could be like kind of like a Cooper Kupp like safety blanket for him a little bit. But I don't really have high expectations for the Titans. You kind of talked me into them being better than I thought they're going to be. I think they're in maybe the worst division. I think both South divisions are the worst divisions in both conferences, and it's pretty far. Like, it's not close. So they have a chance to compete in that division because, I mean, we don't know what the Colts are going to look like, what the Jaguars are going to look like, and the Texans have been better, but they haven't been like a juggernaut. So, yeah, I think they could compete. So I'm with you. I think it's a mild take, and it's an old take as well. So, do you got any fresh ones?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
you want fresh, hot takes?
Yeah.
Oh, get them the jalapenos and hot sauce ready, okay?
It just popped into my head, right? Again, this is I'm stealing a little bit of the arguments that I've used with the Tennessee Titans, but Daniel Jones will win MVP this year.
Oh my God!
Man, do I just got to drink the whole thing? Like, are we just gonna eat all of them? Yeah.
Josh, you're gonna have to do the shit the bed one.
Shane Steichen and Daniel Jones will be to what is his name? Sam and
O'Connell,
right? Again, we know what Steichen can do in terms of calling the plays. He has a competent on running the ball and passing the ball, getting the ball out quick. I know what Danny Dimes can do. I hate using that name, Vanilla Vic, whatever you want to call him, because I hate what he did to the Commanders. He was getting the ball out in time, under 2 seconds, out. Their receiving core is good. Josh Downs, A.D. Mitchell,
Alec Pierce,
Pittman,
Alec Pierce, yeah. Then they did draft tight end from Penn State.
Yeah, Tyler
Warren. Like, the weapons are there. They still have Jonathan Taylor as his running back. This is giving me vibes of what he had in New York, to be quite honest with you. Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley, you can kind of say they're similar in talent-wise. I'm not saying
it's a spicy take in its own, man. That's another one.
I mean, Jonathan, you can't say that Jonathan Taylor is not a top 10 running back.
Yeah, I think his skill set's different than Saquon Barkley's. I think he's more of an inside the numbers running style, where Saquon Barkley can take the top off. So there's a different speed level there.
Jonathan Taylor can take the top off. You just haven't seen it because he's been hurt, but he's done it. He's also can catch the ball out the backfield at a great rate as well. I think the weapons in Indianapolis are there. Again, we wanted to bet on the project of Anthony Richardson, and that project has been failing. You get in the F the past couple of years. His back hurts. He had a back issue since he was in middle school. Like, how did that not go through the physical process of trying to figure out if he's worthy of a top 5 pick? But we know Daniel Jones is good enough to be competent and get a team to the playoffs. So is there any juice left to squeeze in the Daniel Jones juice drink, whatever you want to say? I think there is. And I think Shane Steichen is competent to have Daniel Jones light it up. 33 touchdowns passing, 7 rushing touchdowns, 4,000 passing yards. I think that would be good enough for him to get to playoffs.
You're gonna make me make the same. You're gonna make me make the same fatal mistake I've made the past couple of years, and banking on Daniel Jones' running game to carry my fantasy team by, I'm never going to buy a quarterback high. I'm always in redraft leagues, and so quarterbacks go way too early. You got someone who takes Mahomes or Lamar, someone at the end of the first round, and you're like, what are you guys doing? And I wait till there's guys like Kyler Murray and Daniel Jones left, and I'm always telling myself, he's got good stock. He's a good runner. That's gonna earn you some points, and it doesn't work. Every year it's the same story.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones to win comeback player of the year is pretty decent, but MVP, like, that's spicy. I got 2 jalapenos on here. That's a double one. That wasn't something I was expecting, so I'll give you props for that.
I can come out of nowhere for sure.
Oh.
Yeah, that's CJ.
we did some divisional talk as well, argued about which divisions are the worst, and I believe there's a small crack at the NFC South there. So that's going to be my spicy take, is that the NFC South puts 2 teams in the playoff.
Whoa.
Calling your shot on the teams, or just 2?
3 jalapenos.
Oh, if anything was 3 jalapenos, it was the Daniel Jones MVP. I mean, I
have
think Cody
2.
would be warranted to drink his jalapeno jar.
I thought about it, but yeah, you don't want me to throw up on live on here.
Do a product launch to be like, Tums. Here you
Right.
go.
I don't even know this brand that did the jalapenos, but yeah. That's pretty spicy. I mean, I could see. I mean, Tampa and Atlanta have been kind of, obviously Tampa's been the class of that division. During Brady and post Brady, but I don't know, man. Like, 2 teams. I'm not a big fan of Atlanta. I think if it's 2 teams, and I think it's your team, that's the other.
Say it, Cody.
Carolina.
Say it, Cody.
I think it's Carolina. I think if it's 2 teams, it's your team. It's Carolina, because I don't like Atlanta. I mean, I like Penix, but I don't like their team. I think their coach is kind of overconfident in what he is and who he is. So, yeah, I think it's 2 teams, because I don't think the Saints are. I think Tyler Shuck's going to look like who I think he is as well as the quarterback for the Saints. So, yeah, I think if it's 2 teams, and your prediction's right, I think it's the Panthers sneaking in as a wild card team.
I think it's Panthers and Falcons.
No Bucks.
No Bucks. If you want to be spicy, why not get spicy?
Spicy. That is spicy.
That's going to be, you know what, CJ? You've got some ground there, and here's your ground. Every team that I have newly inherited as a micro fandom, because obviously I have my teams that I will stay true to no matter where I move, no matter what I do. Every team I inherit ends up having their worst season historically the year I inherit them. Let's go first with Florida State. The year I committed to Florida State as a freshman was the year that Jimbo Fisher walked out and went to Texas A&M, the start of the Willie Taggart era, which was a horrific project, right?
Forget that.
Got to Carolina as a sophomore, and they brought back on Mac Brown, who did not end up being a successful project. They had a 6-6 season that year, which was a actual, I guess it was a step up from the year prior. But that was the first year. Sorry, the first year at Florida State was the first year they didn't make a bowl game in 44 years. The first year at Carolina was the first time they didn't make the tournament in like 10 or 11 years in basketball. I am moving to Tampa very soon, next week to be exact, and I've already explored the idea of Bucks season tickets because they have a pretty low price point. So that in its own right should guarantee that the Bucks do not make the playoffs.
So what you're saying is anywhere you move, you need to just fade the team that's in the
fade.
you move to.
Fade Jackson.
Yeah.
I have been searching long and hard for a competitive job offer in Kansas City. I promise you. I have been trying.
That'd be awesome. All right, it's 2 jalapenos for that take, though. But
Yeah, there you go.
Are we just throwing out spicy takes now? It's just an open forum now
It's
to do
open
that.
forum, guys. We have 10 minutes left. This is it. If you have
It's like a spicy take war.
All right. I got some.
Go ahead, Josh. Yep.
All right. Let's see. Stephon Diggs will be suspended this year.
Will or won't?
Will be suspended this year.
Those are just pop rocks in that bag, man. It wasn't anything.
Hold on. I got Kirk Cousins going to the Steelers, and Eagles being third in the NFC East.
I don't hate that one.
That one's spicy for sure.
I don't hate that at all, actually. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, they got a bit of a youth movement at the moment. They still have a majority of the players that they have for the Eagles. I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
Yeah. All right, mine's kind of mild. It's kind of spicy because it's a 2-1, but I got Brock Bowers breaking both the yards and touchdown records for tight ends this year.
Ooh,
That's
I love
17
that.
touchdowns, 1,500 yards.
He's on my dynasty.
Yeah, so I think he does. I mean, 1,500 yards. I think he could do. He did 11 last year in his rookie year with just us playing quarterback out there for him, basically. So I think now he's got a decent quarterback in Geno Smith. So I think he could do the yards, no problem. 17 touchdowns is Gronk's record. That'll be tough.
Yeah,
but
that's a high margin. I'll admit, hopefully none of my fantasy football league mates watch this, but he's someone that is high on my draft board. I think I would maybe even reach up if I am at the last pick of the first round and just go ahead and make him part of my double up. Just go ahead and say, I want Brock Bowers. I'm not letting him slide. He's not making it to the third, obviously. So, I think I would reach and I think I would take him early.
He's like the new Travis Kelce. Like when you have a guy, it's like when you got that run of like elite backs that you want to get early or receivers, then it's like, and you're like anywhere from like that 10 to 12 range or even like 8 to 12 range. If you're in a 12-man league, you're like, you know what? I'm going to start. Because, I mean, why not just get the best tight end who, is going to get him and Trey McBride, like whoever you expect, that's going to give you high fantasy value. I mean, that makes a ton of sense.
If you can find someone that can win you that position group every week, that is so valuable. At receiver, there are too many huge breakout games that, you just never know. Some wide receiver 2 could have 2 touchdowns and 100 yards, right? Some running back could just blow the top off on 2 different plays and have a great game. But tight end, Brock Bowers is looking like what you said, what Kelce was, someone who will win you that position. If you can win that position by more than 5 to 8 points, you're in a good standing with the rest of your roster as long as you don't have bums across the board, So I like him. I'm in one league. I just threw out a request to see if anyone wanted to make a fantasy football league for my new job. And I got 16 people saying yes.
Ooh,
so
I love a deep league.
I love a deep league. I love having to scramble and figure out who people are in the bottom of the 10th round as you're like, am I like you take a ton of rookies in a draft like that. You take guys, you're just banking on them really finding a spot in the offense.
Yeah, I've done a 32-man league and it is disgusting.
That 30 team?
No, all right, that's
32.
That's completely no.
It's
32.
disgusting in the greatest way possible.
Who is your backup? Who's your backup quarterback?
There isn't one.
Yeah. What is your scores? Like 50 to 60? Like it's just low scoring because like you got randos. I mean,
it gets pretty wicked. I think there's a cap on quarterbacks though. Like I think you can only like really house one. So I mean, obviously like or one or two. But like obviously you're gonna have to bank on injuries, right? You're gonna have to get guys who are like, like a Kirk Cousins situation. Like
go ahead and take McCaffrey's back up.
Right. So it's disgusting once you get to like round 5. But it's so fun.
That sounds awful.
That sounds
yeah.
I would just auto draft after round like 6, man, because I don't even know who these guys are.
Yeah, it's a sicko move. Like, you have to respect it.
Get that deep.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Okay,
I got a take. So you got time still, right?
Yes, we do.
All right, so we were kind of talking about firings earlier and coaches getting fired, right? I kind of want to bring us back to that. The Pittsburgh Steelers will fire Mike.
Oh my God!
I'm not going to say fire is the terminology, but the Pittsburgh Steelers will allow Mike Tomlin will step down as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers after a disastrous season. Because here's why I say that. Obviously, I don't know if you guys talked about this week in trades out there, doing something very uncanny like in terms of being aggressive in the trade market and getting guys and paying them, but not paying their own guys like they normally do. A lot of money giving them raises as well, which is crazy. Jonnu Smith going from $4 million to $12 million in a year, and giving Jalen Ramsey an additional $2 million in the trade value, but then trading Minkah Fitzpatrick back to where they found him. This reeks of desperation. This reeks of a team that what the Steeler way has been is not working. And so they are desperate and trying to throw everything at the fire. So if you have a team that is desperate to try to do whatever it takes to get over the hump and win a playoff game this year by betting on Jalen Ramsey with a big contract, betting on DK Metcalf with a big contract, giving Jonnu Smith a big contract, who obviously loves Arthur Smith. This just is not the Steeler way. Is the Steeler way broken? Maybe Omar, who's new, is the GM. Is he trying to bring these fresh new ideas that may fail for him? I think that there will be a massive blow up in the Pittsburgh Steelers organization to get back to the Steelers way and to have a youth movement. And TJ Watt will be the first domino that will show the crack of, hey, this is not working, so they're going to trade TJ Watt to the Commanders. And so, which I predicted on this show a while ago, and you guys looked at me crazy, but now you're starting to see the roots to spread just a little bit.
For Terry McLaurin, though, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, CJ, so I'm going to choose on that one, dude. I like that because I have on here kind of a double take on your take on that, because I have on here Mike Tomlin is also somebody who might, get out of there. And I'm on here that Aaron Rodgers, there'll be footage of him beefing hardcore with Tomlin on the sideline. It'll be very, very out there. They'll be yelling, shouting, pointing fingers, slamming helmets, and all that. So I definitely think.
Can I add a caveat to just make this a Carolina Reaper? No Bryce Young. Bill Belichick will be the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers next year.
Whoa. Okay, 3 jalapenos. Guys, take your goddamn shots. Let's do it.
Not happening, but I mean, I like your spiciness. I'll do 2 since I'm already like 8 in, so it's been But I kind of had similar to your spicy take. So my spicy was 2 AFC North coaches will end up getting fired, and so Mike Tomlin could be one of those. I don't think it'd be John Harbaugh. It'd either be Stefanski or
why not
Zach Taylor.
Why not John Harbaugh?
I just don't see them pulling the trigger. I don't.
We understand that Justin Tucker's scandal is still unraveling, right?
Crazy.
It is.
You
that
know
is.
how
Yeah.
long the Baltimore Ravens have held and covered up behavior that could trickle down, and someone could be the fall person. Just saying.
Maybe. Yeah. So maybe more than 2, but yeah. Belichick being the Steelers head coach, that would be at like 75 years old too next year. That would be interesting.
I don't think he loves it enough, honestly.
Pete Carroll, man. Pete Carroll is older than Bill Belichick.
He's got more energy, though.
He's younger in spirit.
Yeah, he
For
does.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying Bill Belichick's not younger in spirit than Pete Carroll, what he's been doing this offseason?
He's younger in girlfriend. I mean,
There we go.
Yeah.
Be able to do that.
Well.
Oh dear God. Okay, we have reached that point in the show where Josh is struggling. Cody is probably trying to be like, where's more water? I need more water. And we have reached the end of our show. This was a great one, guys. These are my co-hosts, Cody, Josh, Jackson, CJ. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. This is From the Sidelines. We are live from 8 p.m. Eastern on Sundays on Sports Fluent. And we only have 9 Sundays, guys, before the start of the NFL season. That is so exciting. And when it starts, you already know we're going to be talking so much about what is happening. So thank you all so much, and we will see you all next week.
Oh, Canada. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing. No, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.